Radio Mannin, Radio Mannin. Badi yn sylwion y balach o beth.
Gilg Jew, Gilg J as Gilg Nerach.
Sé Claare na Gaelton, enam a Claare Shaws, babaile am siwa shaldacha. My name is Robert Cutting Carswell, Robert a Carslach.
Have I heard tell of old Bobby Bob?
And it's my pleasure to welcome you to Claare na Gael, a bilingual programme with part of the programme in the English language, as leis Port Erin Jane Claare sa Gilg, and with another part of the programme in the Manx Gaelic, Chinian Amera, the mother tongue of Ellen Vanning, the Isle of Man. As Bannacht and Durish, we continue with William Gell's 1906 poem Mannin Veg Veen, as his three-legged rhyming scheme takes us on a tour of the island. And we've made our way from Douglas Head down the east coast to the Calf, owned at that time by the Claare family, so he dubs it Claare's Isle. Ons skielferish na Brothers Grimm, te saidur dunnel rei curritmach as a chagi, gin veg, as de corrie machon shen, as de corcujach podden de liars throwen knock skin caginus, as de grey the gin and ree cor a cledden huge de rosh me visse reirish. We are going to start off by squaring the circle, with music for a Breton dance, a rond, sung and played by the band Diawled Armenez, the Devils of the Mountain. Tashu geestiach rish Radio Vanning, Stashu na Nashun, with scholar Scalia Mach by Dúlis Ellen Vanning.
Dans les jardins de Nantes, petit Ritty Madeleine. Dans les jardins de Nantes, petit Ritty Madeleine. Il y avait un petit rosier, petit Ritty la Madelon. Il y avait un petit rosier, la Madeleine à don-don. Il y avait un petit rosier, petit Ritty la Madelon. Il y avait un petit rosier, la Madeleine à don-don. Personne de l'arrosoir, petit Ritty Romalène. Personne de l'arrosoir, petit Ritty Madeleine. La fille du jardinier, petit Ritty la Madelon. La fille du jardinier, la Madeleine à don-don. La fille du jardinier, petit Ritty la Madelon. La fille du jardinier, la Madeleine à don-don.
Diawled Armenez from the northwest of Brittany, and that was La Quadrature du Rond, the squaring of the circle, from one of their albums, Mère and Jowl, the Devil's Woman. Now, having referred to the Calf as Claare's Isle, William Gell continues. Chickens break the prospect dreary, though no brood of Mother Claare. Storm-tossed mariner, be wary. Look aloft, benighted tar. Trinity's bright guiding star sends thee greeting from afar. Well, he's looking towards the Chicken Rock, and the name brings to mind Mother Carey's chickens, which is the name for the storm petrel. And that name found its way into print for the first time that's known of it anyway, in 1773, when John Hawkesworth writes of the petrels, to which sailors have given the name of Mother Carey's chickens. Well, it's thought the name Mother Carey is a transliteration of the Latin mater cara, or the Italian madre cara, meaning dear mother, and that refers, of course, to the Virgin Mary. And the storm petrel was thought by sailors to be a portent of bad weather, and the birds are sent to alert them, to warn them, by the Virgin Mary, the mater cara, madre cara, or Mother Carey. Liorish nish tan ir haidúr jit dunne fileja. Shell gair as ebledjeg a liege súl chwaljag vai de wieler súl. Dunne de shege as untol strane, de chore sjoil sjach muljen gei de wieler súl kadam a giert les bree. Dunne de kjau herish ungleish, as gaide wel gin bol wenach, genod cor daiori gin lier jo aglach, chit de way on, jinnach rioja na yinlied, de jinnach a tujem maru as a spare. As for jere te chit rider, te reich o tavi, de wel goil feil joris corje en derrelurgege, as te na jadu erlurgelia. Tad ulju jit gespalias und shent en riegre de jinna ninege, pusa dunjer bis rai ratch, na stavi na ish. Ach, manabelle chit leshen dunje sarach, de jinne call a chion. Wel tan ir haidur en li jailach jane fodden nish, grei de jin en rider sa fodden egge, goil arn ons ratch. As tan riegre, manabelle chit leshen rider, de jin Eshen as an ear hydurnius caln and ging. Now we've heard a version in Manx of Christine Tier singing lyrics by Mona Douglas to a tune by Nicolai Giovanelli, Ashling a Cheen. Well, this now is Christine Brigazzi with a version of it in English, and this version is arranged by Charles Gard.
Caves that face away.
A Sea Vision, music by Nicolai Giovanelli, and words in both Manx and, as we heard in that version in English, by Mona Douglas, sung there in an arrangement by Charles Gard by Christine Brigazzi. Tref sio rechich de bollach as cordich, ren an ear haidur cor emer an raida, as ren cion a rischen lesh strien an na lurgege. Nish, be de hui doorte, as gauw eil de wel een variacht ein. Ve cordid och de bergen fer jenach corlesh ustje haig vai struen vaders en adich, kuntich de ve fer na bariach. Nish ren nina ri as een rider goil sech, as ren goil taiach tegen untre. Ach, ons tullach, train around nina ri en ollach tamel beg de red, van rider as shilja. A fair van rijegge, maar de berg rie shege sha. Ons tamelt gier renke en truen, Renelina sech egge leddend ostje, as geen dea de git back. Ach, mus lie red tai, ren skies goile, as look de chorschis sech egge, renne laishis a tolu de gadle. Ach, de roest de rieste leeg en vee na lai ro vug, vee ang oil bollag gabil van a lai fagus day, as hugge phone gionegge ma chlushag. Now, having thought of Mother Carey's chickens in relation to the Chicken Rock, which tell the mariner to look out for a storm, William Gell suggests looking instead to the Chicken Rock Lighthouse. It was completed in December of 1874, so an anniversary of 150 years ago this month. It's 144 foot, that's 44 metres high, built of granite to a design by David and Thomas Stevenson. It cost £64,559 to build it, and it first lit up on the 1st of January 1875. The fact that it was members of the famous Scottish Stevenson lighthouse building family that designed it highlights the fact that whilst Trinity House has input into maritime matters to do with signals displayed and sounded by lighthouses, and ultimate responsibility for lighthouses was with the UK Board of Trade, now with the UK Department of Transport, it was in fact the Northern Lighthouse Board that built and maintains the Chicken Rock Lighthouse, as it does the island's other lighthouses, so William Gell is not quite right there in calling it Trinity's bright guiding star. Mike O'Connor playing a Cornish hornpipe, confusingly called the Zeke Waltz, and that was from Ralph Dunstan's Cornish Songbook of 1929, in which he says it was a march formerly very popular at outdoor Sunday school treats.
The Nation Station, Manx Radio.
Siodiw stasiwn yn asiwn Radio Fanning, mae si Claare na Gael dyr y chlas yn Cartnish, mer yn pyn Robert Cytyn Carswell, Robert y Carslach.
Have you heard tell of our Bobby Bob?
Ta Claare na Gael y chlas yn y siacht yn lwg gol ar sgelia mach yn chyr tio unedeg y Radio Fanning, as rai siw y chraman agart. Ta Claare na Gael mas yn y podcast yn jinteg Radio Fanning nis, fys rygad yn nasti unedeg y Radio Fanning hun, na trwyd yn reich y podcast jau, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Audible, Spotify, Google Podcasts, TuneIn, na Alexa. William Gell now has a good bit to say about Port Erin, which we'll start now. Fair jewel case, Port Erin Bay. What heaps of treasure come thy way. Alas, how valueless today, follies, monumental stones. Mannin still, with sighs and groans, man's ineptitude bemoans. Now this will be a reference to the Port Erin breakwater, or rather what was to have been the outer breakwater. Tynwald borrowed £32,600 from the UK government against future revenue to build that was going to come in from harbour dues, and with this loan they were built the breakwater, and in order to build it there was the Port Erin Breakwater Railway, unique in being a broad gauge line here in the island, and it was the island's first steam railway. Didn't go very far, I don't suppose, but it had a locomotive called Henry B. Loch after the Lieutenant Governor who took up office in 1863. The breakwater was to run out northward from Gell on the southern tip of Port Erin Bay. Work began in 1864, but even whilst being built it proved susceptible to storms and was damaged in 1868. Edder yn dechref yn un ri, fod y jarw yn y rhaid y ffi fai, fy mai dy lwyd y chor law yn eich dre dyn y cadjan erby, rosyn y trwyn, as ren e lina y sechec, as fi sairach y bac leis rhys, tre honig i yn rhaid yn y lain y chadla. Sliam sy fariach diw, dwrt i leis bog y mŵr, as ren e teim y mach yn sech ega, as ren e sairach y roi. As nish, fe gulliw ar y fe cailch. Beid yr awen sielge yn y chiad o bola y chastiol, as leis the sŵlion gira ega, honig e ulliw ren tachart. Chanaiden de nina ri gedden lawen echte orin, dwrt e, as hug e orach as y rifle ega, as gau i reert gemaid ar en e ligamach a bolla chabel vai fo cion yn raida gyn ginawadi a vide. As ren yn raida dwsta as lima nis. As honig e yn sech eg yn y chiadw folum, as nina ri ffordd yn red taieg. Ach, gyn col dunnelus, ren e raid y bliwg as y trwyn, ren e lina rish yn sech leis ustja. Now from their album The Widening Guy, this is Mairead Nimwini with the band Altan, Mahain Tu an Éanach, If You Go to the Fair.
Her
Donegal band Altan, who were here for Llwniach a couple of years ago. For jaren son sien as olio, ranke tai jai minute rosh mareng nina ri. Tjich saw doorte, shach en chid hier dau de fear, shina mach malurgachen. Rosh nish gerawi few grey rai rish. For snai ri, as eer na smoona shen neenegge, de jinnach eer hai door kajen, gedden lauwen echter ori. As rennet loter gelium machon an act for die had gedden reirishen, as rishna cum regen egge egen untrei. Ta plan hem, doten ri, na gauw na bimmage rei ruarach. Esh haia marcus na dania, as hook eg quiraro de unophalia, as de beginnel as de you. As renelli jailed stjach on shamer, ek verleer de jarn. As van Doris as jarn, va fremen as bolten jarn eg no onjegen. Onsen shamer va boerd, as sight va be castelach. Nish stjach liu on shen as jinshu saur shu heen doorten ree. As trever an ol stjach onji, hug ge sere de chorre Doris fo glass, as de ve boltage. Now, with damage to what had been built of the Port Erin breakwater in 1868, Lieutenant Governor Henry Broomloch cajoled and unwilling Tynwald into putting another £13,000 into repairing the damage and completing construction. It was finished in 1870 at a total cost of £45,600. However, it was obvious by then that the harbour Jews wouldn't even pay for maintenance of it, let alone repay the capital costs. Well, this led to a huge row, with the UK saying they'd been misled about the amount likely from harbour dues to enable repayment of the loan. And whilst admitting they were legally liable for the loss, they said the moral responsibility lay with Tynwald. And the argument wasn't settled for another 9 years. But then the breakwater was again damaged in 1882 and was finally destroyed in a storm in 1884, leaving large boulders as a hazard in the bay, and with little protection until a small breakwater was built in about 1910. Now, the 11th of December 1282 was the date of a battle at Kilmerry in Wales, which resulted in the death of Llywelyn ap Griffith, Llywelyn and Llyw Olaf, Llywelyn our last leader, the last native and independent Prince of Wales. Well, this is the group called Kilmerry, with a remembrance of that, and then it goes into a Welsh dance tune afterwards.
Y mae rhywysgwyd y mer yr eisgyrn, yn deffro anadl yn y dyffranoedd. Bydd yno weled gweiniaid yn gydyrn, a bydd ei hanadl fel ei as byddinoedd. Daw heiliau heno, daw hil o'i anadl, a nwyf o eiriau'r henw'r cyfarwydd. A gwn bod ei gan ymlodau'r banadl, a bod ei stori ym mhob distawrwydd.
And that was the band Kilmerry, and in fact the opening that we heard there was lamenting the death of Llywelyn II, and it was part of an awdl which won Robin Llwyd ap Owain the chair of the Urdd Eisteddfod in 1978, and the group Kilmerry recited that over a tune called Kilmerry by Nan Jones. And the other piece we heard was the campaign tune, a marching tune from Wine Lwyd. Well, back to William Gell now. Here in this choice, well-favoured spot, when wearied of the world's jog-trot, Dame Fortune's pets oft cast their lot. Thou bonny village of the west, when earth in brightest garb is dressed, haven of calm and peaceful rest. Well, one of those Dame Fortune's pets was William Milner of the safe manufacturing firm, who found in Port Erin a perfect spot to come and rest, and gave money for the tower. We'll come to that in William Gell's poem shortly, and for St Catherine's Church and other works in the village. Well, on with William Gell. Awe-inspiring Bradda Cliff, though the climb be long and stiff, glad the western breeze we sniff. Reverent thy slopes we tread, trace we on thy stately head footsteps of the illustrious dead. Once revered among the just, now returned to mother crust, earth to earth, and dust to dust. Bold in silhouette, outlined, Milner's tower recalls to mind maxim trite, safe bind, safe find. Esh renni sumna chogra, Shochen ri, esh rennen ri sumna cogra, as dinche day the ail moor phone chamber, de bergen leer jarenji jur che. Shen rennen cogra, as ren the shade dania gol toyach der genachten der ouwen chamber chit de bei fi che, kunte morvat smuljen egen toyach, a jener mai. A gouds henke chas de bij na smoe, as hoer het maakt er ouwen dorsen as nonigen vol glas, gauwe toyach der smunjen der ouwe plan jaulach a ri, de vloegad. Ach, a jinne chitlesh doet en dunje lesjen edd weg, diem genten lier rio en je kor ail gol neer a Jason heen, a snauw maag as een red. Me so hugge en edd a girach a chion, as chilirach heg lied a lier rio, der en ulju en chas gol maag as ren a bi rio Jones na gisten. Treve oer na reng ol sha, as van ries muljen de berg het ulju a herachten sa chas, hugge sere da osle en doris, as haiesh en heen, de hagen en acht vat gol. Well, we heard the Scottish small pipes played by Anna Murray, the guitar of Ian Finlay MacLeod with Steve Lawrence and other strings, and they were joined by Stuart McCartney on harmonica, making a jazzy bluesy piece from what is a Scottish traditional wedding reel.
Manx Radio.
Stasiwn yn asiwn sien the jarw radio banning bread ta siw clash and Claare na Gael ag yn treit on. Mish Robert Cutting Carswell, Robert a Carslach.
Did the other hear tell of old Bobby Bob?
As tred yn a Doris Getlach fawslich, on sien va ulju na shejaw sledden sausja. As doordat de rawd sledden erlu de hit mach, de vodach a chawad heen. Nod rauw furen down de cheme shen na chor wie, Rio Jones na gisten. As ledden chorry, high and rig as a chogra, as hug ochsan day, as vrije jay an or na rawi an yun morve ordich. Te che de lor un shen, for die shoe fagen an son heen, dregger an chogra. As yicherie, as honneke eil 4 uur woer, last of on schemer de jarn. As gauw toiach der smunjen, na raun de she dunjer a gedden reirish san ach shen. As smunje plan no, ljorish fuddy de jinnach shitlesh, ma saw hugge merli jailach de hit, as doort eirish. Ma niu corsus en care said gus manin, as goil ons synergy, fuddy you goil huish as tau giri. Son shigeras ma jarn reed dregger and dunja. Now, another name which used to be well known, probably not so much these days, I suppose, is that of the author Arnold Bennett. And he set chapter 10 of his 1902 novel, Anna of the Five Towns, in Port Erin. And Arnold Bennett's family used to spend their summer holidays on the island from 1883. He also wrote some short stories about the island, one, in fact, very obviously, Fenella, a Manx idyll. He also wrote The Scratched Face and Under the Clock, 2 more short stories. He mentions the island in another 6 of his novels, including 2 that are particularly well known, at least they were until a few years ago, The Old Wives' Tale and The Card. Now, chapter 10 of Anna of the Five Towns and the short stories Fenella, a Manx idyll and The Scratched Face are all centred on what Arnold Bennett describes as the lovely little fishing village of Port Erin. In one of the short stories he mentions the Falcon Hotel, and there's mention of the Wesleyan Chapel on the hill leading to the chasms. This was in Dandy Hill off Ballaford Road. Now, we've heard Breton singer Mona Cairis a few times before, and this is a recording released in 1958 with the orchestra of pianist Lucien Méret.
Maître
Fiona Carey's a mezzo-soprano who also sang classical pieces as well as her native Breton folk songs, as there with a traditional song about An Durzunel, the turtle dove. As ag a tre seo bha mi dúcharish lai beganelia J an den seo Mannin Veg Veen ach san or enjach de Jane de wel mi en brok J shen as genelle regeren antjebinium golair lesh bit begelia. Now, mentioning Arnold Bennett there, and in fact what we'll come back to next time in Claare and Gael is a description that Arnold Bennett gives. He describes the view from Bradda, though I think he's describing rather from Bing Bradda, a mile further up the coast from Cown Bradda Head. Strangely enough, Arnold Bennett doesn't actually mention, whilst describing the view, the 1871 Milner's Tower, though, of course, obviously, as I say, he started visiting Port Erin in 1883 with his family, so it was obviously there, but he just didn't mention it. And as I say, we'll come back to what Arnold Bennett has to say about this view from Bradda, and we'll compare that with William Gell's description, because his poem Mannin Veg Veen goes on to give a description as well of what he's seeing as he goes along. In fact, he's climbed up onto Bradda Head, and then he heads north up the coast from there, so he's going, as Arnold Bennett did, up towards Bing Bradda. But we'll, as I say, return to that next time. Lieg thou goil chwisher as foddim machar vent immerke, as niem corsús de choliucher as gust na nien, doort en dunje. As ren en rie cordeel, de jinnach e chit rieslug gegish de gedden an air. Ren en dunje es som na kujach ulju na talieren ser riacht, as hug e oru de avrige, de jino sak, as for gegish kjauchok air. As tref e erlu, ren en dunje leidje va feathenit gaster maag bilgen goile ergielen, as haiegus en rie. Quai was a fair fi voer shot a gimmerke ergielen bart de stoege moers tai, Gillian rie, as goil al moer tres smunnie chwisher oddig gimmerke soel. As for tunde tarnits jack, lor is she den je ledge a jeg. A hug ulju jay satak lesh unlau, as doorte. Gren fan a jin shu cor lesh tulju. Sgon vi shaw kudige a bunjay. Ma saw hug and ree sera dow, de chor lesh na veggen, a cledden tarsjäger. Now this is Matt Claare with his song about these walls, but this is a version he made in Manx and it's called The Ball and Shaw.
As a child fit, right to go the garden, as an on your crib, uns nin schimmer weg. Tambul schon nicht mehr teil, in der vier Jahre heim, ich kehr uns nin mehr. Trenak jinguchi rosh donuntu Fergo golen Sona jin much tanak ton Skill vori glass in ovid ton Skill vori glass much to she beg a curve for song
And there we heard Matt Creer and Nabolan Shaw, the Manx version of his song These Walls. And Matt was singing and playing guitar with Josephine Evans on cello and Katie Lawrence on fiddle. Il Joris Shen, Harawan Sac, Ir Lie Lint. Cor leshu tolju, Gillian Dunya. Chanel na miren beggar shaw, Jinu monna a chor be. Esh verjere we 6,000 car lady leidit lesh va na chumsache through de kledden ririach. As imminent gesen. As renne cow ad ulju sa tak egger, jow as ulju. Now, as I mentioned, Arnold Bennett describes the view from Bradda, and we'll come back to that next time. In fact, William Gell is going to make his net. While we north our way pursue, he says, and off he goes across up towards Bing Bradda and then further up the coast. But we'll come back to William Gell's description next time as well. Ach the Jaru shed a cartnish. In just a few minutes at 7 o'clock, Chris Pearson will be here with a selection of the best chill-out music for your Sunday evening through to 9 o'clock, and then Judith Clay will be here to present Sundown. We close Claare with more music from Cornwall by a bard of Gorseth Curnow, Mike O'Connor, who's done wonderful work in researching and making available music from old manuscripts and also encouraging new writing through the Cornwall songwriters. Ach, Shananish, as Masaw, until the next time, from Claare Gael, this is Robert Kitting Carswell, Robert a Carslach.
Our Bobby Bob.
Wishing you a very good night eve. I'm a Crieri Wulju, as Orser Ye, as me Yirian shared you.